It's like Halo, but with portals. That's how most have been describing Splitgate 2, the new FPS by indie studio 1047 Games. But there's actually a lot more to it than that. It's also Battlefield, Call of Duty, Apex, and even a bit of Overwatch hero shooter DNA to it. In the FPS landscape that's already oversaturated with similar ideas, Splitgate 2's mission seems to be remixing what works from its competition and hoping that it all combines to be something greater than the sum of its parts. And today on Game Rant, we're gonna dive into exactly what Splitgate 2 does the same as the competition, what it does differently, and exactly how all these different elements combine to make something worth your time. The original Splitgate was the result of a school project by the studio's founders that just took off within the first month of release, with its easy-to-learn but hard-to-master design philosophy that was based around a pretty standard arena shooter similar to classic Halo, but with the added twist of portals that let you cross the map in an instant. A core design that the studio would later iterate upon with its sequel just officially released in early June 2025. Now, in terms of mechanics, Splitgate 2 combines a bunch of different elements that have a proven track record in similar games. It has an advanced movement system, meaning that there's jetpacks, sliding, and a certain momentum to everything that you do. You can portal the ground and a wall, jump on in, and fling yourself across the map, before chaining that directly into a slide and jump boost over any obstacles that happen to be in your way, letting you not only navigate the map with ease, but you can also use these maneuvers in combat, adding a third dimension to fights, that then you add the portals itself on top of, and that means that there's lots to think about in every encounter, which is what makes the skill ceiling so high. Loadouts are very similar to something that you'd see in classic COD. You can customize your primary and secondary with attachment slots on each, as well as a pair of perks and equipment like grenades, mines, healing domes, and portable radars. However, these loadouts are unique to one of 3 different factions, which are almost like heroes in a hero shooter, each with their own weapon pools and a passive and ult ability that fall into the loose categories of a rusher, a scout, or a tank. Although these elements are really quite subtle. This isn't Overwatch, where you're really concerned with team comp or anything. Instead, in-game, the extent of these elements kinda just begin and end at, oh no, someone put down a shield or popped a speed boost. And honestly, that's probably for the best, because it really lets Splitgate 2's biggest selling point, the portals, really shine. In terms of game modes, the main course here is Arena, your standard 4v4 multiplayer with all the classic game archetypes that you'd expect. You got your dominations, your team deathmatches, and split ball, which is effectively the same as capture the flag. And Arena is by far the most competitive mode here, with each match split into multiple rounds, and whoever takes the most wins it in the end. Then there's 24-player Onslaught, which in my experience is a little bit more casual and looser. In-game, 3 teams of 8 fight for control over a much larger map with objectives that move around as the match progresses. And personally, this is probably my favorite, because it's a bit lower stakes, and the larger maps really let you make the most out of your movement and portal prowess while still having plenty of engagements due to the increased player count. And lastly, you have Battle Royale, a big squad-based mode that's just as, if not more, fast-paced. It's Resurgence style, meaning that as long as one person on your team is still alive, you will respawn back every few seconds. But unlike other BRs, where you might respawn in the air and have to manually find your way down, here you'll pop in on top of whoever you happen to be spectating. So it's not uncommon to get into an engagement with someone, they retreat behind cover for a few seconds, long enough for their teammates to respawn, and suddenly, instead of one enemy, you're dealing with 2 or 3. So it's always best to travel in a pack. And this system, combined with that fast movement, makes this definitely not for someone looking for a more traditional, slow and methodical BR. In fact, to me, it feels a lot more like a chaotic multi-team deathmatch, with the occasional loot found on the ground, at least for the first half of the game or so, until teams start to whittle down a bit. And lastly, I do want to shine a light on the Lab, which is their map creator a la Halo Forge, which seems to be decently robust, with a map browser letting you check out some of the community's finest. Now, when Splitgate 2 officially dropped, it was shrouded in controversy by some comments made by the devs and some overpriced microtransactions. But at the end of the day, the free-to-play game beneath it all does deserve to be looked at for what it is, in spite of these factors surrounding it. And for many, Splitgate 2 feels great to play, and sometimes that's really all that matters. Its elements all combine into something that is genuinely fun once you learn how they all interact. But the other side of that coin is that the game can be ultra competitive due to that high skill ceiling. The whole easy to learn, tough to master mentality can be great if you're willing to put in the time to master it, but for casuals who are just looking to jump into a game or two after work, they might find the player base eclipse them in terms of movement and mastery of portal mechanics pretty quickly. In the end though, it is a free-to-play title, so even if just the mere concept of Halo but with portals is interesting to you, you may want to give it a shot. But for now, that's about it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and for more deep dives like this, check out GameRant.com.